You're trained as a child, call 911 when you need help. I called 911, I got a recording.
An Indianapolis mother reaching out to RTV6 for answers, saying she was not able to get through right away when she called 911 after her son was shot. Marion County took her concerns to the top to figure out what happened and found out what you need to know to make sure your call is answered as soon as possible.
You have reached 911 emergency dispatch. Do not hang up.
That is what Tiffany Coker heard.
Stay on the line for the next available dispatcher.
Moments after her son had been shot on a Sunday afternoon.
I wait and I hold. I wait and I hold. I wait and I hold, and I get the recording again. I'm like, no.
According to call logs, she waited on hold for 1 minute and 38 seconds before hanging up and calling again. That time, she hung up after waiting for 16 seconds. A dispatcher called her back right after that.
It was just unacceptable that my son is being shot. I'm calling 911. I'm getting a recording.
Leaders at the dispatch center agree.
That was a life or death emergency, and her call should have been answered a lot sooner. And it wasn't.
Major Michael Hubbs says in this case, there were several factors that led to the delay. When she called 911, calls were also coming in for a hit and run accident, a reckless driver, and an unconscious person. He says her wait time was well above Marion County's average, which is currently 11.4 seconds. He says situations like this don't happen often, but when they do, they stick with him.
Every day I go home at night and think about these type of calls that don't get through, and I want to apologize to her.
He says abuse of the 911 system also causes delays. He says about 60% of the calls they get are not emergencies, and they tie up valuable dispatcher time.
Unfortunately, I think they will continue to happen until we refine some areas of the 911 system in regard to how we use it, abuse.
He says long term, they'll need to look at increasing pay for dispatchers. And eventually, they'll need to upgrade and expand the dispatch center to a larger facility. Something this mom says should be done sooner than later.
The last thing we want to hear about is because the phone lines were busy or we couldn't get it through that a child or an elderly person passed away. Luckily, my son is okay, but what if he wasn't?
Working for you, Marion County, RTV6.
And leaders at the dispatch center say education is key. They want to remind you to call the non-emergency line if possible. And they say if you do call 911 and get placed on hold, do not hang up. The dispatch center says your call remains in the queue, and calling back just ties up the system. Calls are answered and returned in the order they are received.